Hey guys, this is Tom with Amped Airsoft. I'm going to be going over today FCUs, or Fire Control Units. This is going to be the first video in our series covering FCUs. So, what is an FCU? It is the brain of your HPA unit. If you are getting into HPA, you should know how to program your FCU, or you should at least have a basic understanding of how it works. So today what I'm going to be going over is how each of these different FCUs and a few others that aren't on this table generally operate, and then we're also going to be having an individual video on each of these units themselves. We have a Polarstar FCU, we have Wolverine FCU, we have a Redline FCU, we have a Backdraft Innovations Phoenix FCU, we have a Gate Titan II FCU, and we have a Gorilla FCU. On this side of the board is going to be a bunch of proprietary FCUs that come with their units and really only work with their units. And then on this side of the board, we're going to have a lot more units that work with certain engines, or they are a third-party upgrade from factory. They don't come with a unit. So we're going to start off with the grandfather of all units, the Polarstar FCU. The Polarstar FCU, and why I call it the grandfather of all units, is because one of the first HPA engines that came out was the Polarstar Fusion engine and the Revision Zero FCU that it came with. This has undergone a few different revisions and changes over the years. This is the Revision 3 model of it. And a few of the updates have been to make the wire harness a little bit more rugged, some programming stuff. Some of the revisions have also been to the menu so that it's a little bit easier to understand, a little bit easier to use. Some of the features of this unit are that you have multiple ports here, one for the battery, one for the wire harness that goes to the trigger board, and one for an accessory port. You also will program this through the LCD screen right here and this toggle switch button here. That is how you're going to move through the FCU itself. Moving on from the Polarstar, we have two of Wolverine's offerings. Now, Wolverine has a few different FCUs, but we're going to cover two of the main ones you're going to run into. This is going to be the Wolverine Premium board. This is replacing the older Wolverine Standard board that used to have the dial switches on it that would adjust resistance and control your tuning that way. This now has a much easier user interface that has light up bars on the side here, two buttons on the side here, a battery port, and a switch to go through different menus. You will be using these buttons to program this FCU, as well as plugging and unplugging the battery to enter certain modes of it. All the features that are on this are also on this other FCU from Wolverine. It is their Spartan board. Now, the Spartan board is unique in that it is also a trigger board. There's a few other companies that make FCUs that are also trigger boards. The Spartan, honestly, I believe was one of the first to do that, and it is all programmed through the trigger and the connecting and unconnecting of the battery. These are their two main options. They do have the standard board offered as well, and they do have their MTW line of boards, which we won't be getting into in this video. Moving on to the Redline board. The Redline board is probably the most simplistic board. There is no dials, there is no buttons, there is no anything on it. You do have a battery port, you do have a wire harness, and you do a lot of the programming through the trigger. So very similar to how the Spartan board works on this. This is a very, very simple board. It's very easy to use once you actually look at the manual. But the Redline is probably the most simple example of an FCU, other than maybe the one next to it. So we have the Backdraft Innovation FCU. This is a very, very simple FCU, and it uses the old style of the Wolverine standard board, where it has these two pentameter switches on it, which you can turn as a dial to affect the dwells. Okay? The rate of fire and the dwell. Again, very simple unit. You plug your wire harness into here, which will attach to here, and there will be a battery connection on that wire harness connection. Moving on past the Phoenix FCU from Backdraft Innovations, we're going to move into some more third-party ones. The Gate Titan and the Gorilla, and we also carry the Blackleaf boards as well. So the Gate Titan II comes with any of the Pulsar engines. The Gate Titan II also works as a regular Titan. It has the same optical sensors as a regular Titan. It has the same setup as you would experience in a regular Titan MOSFET unit from Gate. Now, what is different about this? This is a Bluetooth-enabled FCU that doesn't only work with the Gate Pulsar line of engines, but it also works with all existing engines on the market as well, as far as we've tested. So you can use this board and plug it into your jack, plug it into your F2, plug it into your Inferno. You can plug this into any engine. You are just going to have to go through some tuning stuff on it once you plug those different engines in. This is set up from the factory to work with the Pulsar, but you can buy this and use this with other units, which is a very cool feature. And it opens up like a regular Titan does, and it does have the two different sides there. So what does this have on it? This has accessory ports if you are running a dual solenoid system or a single solenoid system. This has all of the sensors that a normal Gate Titan would have. A battery connector for whatever battery you want to run, whether that's a mini LiPo or a large style LiPo. Do not use over a 7.4 with any of these FCUs. It has the solenoid connector to whatever engine you are using it. Okay, moving on to the last FCU on the table. This is going to be the Gorilla M FCU. So this is kind of very similar to a trigger board style FCU such as the Spartan, the MTW, and the Gate Titan II. This is the only one that does not come with any engine. This is a third-party aftermarket FCU. It does use some magnetic switches, which is a unique feature to it. It has many different ports to allow you to plug into many different engines and other manufacturer's hardware. This is truly meant to be an aftermarket upgrade that you would buy to install into whatever gun you're running. So that is one of the unique things about this, where this is not coming with any engine. This also does have Bluetooth programmability. This is not going to be a review, so I'm not going to go into the details of the differences between these two apps for Bluetooth compatibility, but just know that this also is Bluetooth programmable, and that's mainly how you're going to program this unit. Okay guys, I hope that answered all of your questions. If you guys have any questions concerning any FCUs, we will be going over these in much more detail in individual videos. So please comment down below if we missed anything, you still have questions, or you want us to go over any FCU that you don't see on this table. Again guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and keep an eye out for the future videos where we go over each of these individually. Thanks again.